Hello. Welcome back to the Daily Bread, day 154. We'll be reading from the book Scripture 2009, and we'll be reading Deuteronomy chapter 13, Isaiah 14, 2nd Psalms, Proverbs 3, and 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 13 on page 201. When there arises among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, he shall give you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder shall come true, of which he has spoken to you, saying, Let us go after other mighty ones, which you have not known, and serve them. Do not listen to the words of that prophet or the dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your Elohim is trying you to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being. Walk after Yahweh your Elohim and fear him and guard his commands and obey his voice and serve him and cling to him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams is put to death because he has spoken apostasy against Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim and ransomed you from the house of bondage, to make you stray from the way in which Yahweh your Elohim commanded you to walk. Thus you shall purge the evil from your midst. When your brother, the son of your mother, or the son of your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is your own being, entices you to concealment, saying, Let us go and serve other mighty ones, which you have not known, neither you nor your fathers, of the mighty ones of the people, which are all around you, near to you or far off from you, from the other end of the earth to the other end of the earth. Do not agree with him, or listen to him, nor shall your eye pardon him, nor spare him or cover him, but you certainly shall kill him. Your hand is first against him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And you shall stone him with stones until he dies, because he sought to entice you away from Yahweh your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, from the house of bondage. And let all Israel hear and fear, and not again do any such evil matter as this is in your midst. When you hear someone in one of your cities, which Yahweh your Elohim gives you to dwell in, saying, Some men, some sons of Belial, have gone out of your midst, and led the inhabitants of their city astray, saying, Let us go and serve other mighty ones whom you have not known. Then you shall inquire, search out, and ask diligently, and see if the matter is true, and establish that this abomination was done in your midst. And you shall certainly strike the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, putting it under the ban, and all that is in it, its livestock, with the edge of the sword, and gather all its plunder into the middle of the street, and completely burn with fire the city and all its plunder before Yahweh your Elohim. Two ways we clean things biblically: water and fire. 16. And gather all its plunder in the middle of the street, and completely burn with fire the city and all its plunder before Yahweh your Elohim, and it shall be a heap forever, never to be built again. And none of that which is put under the ban is to cling to your hand, so that Yahweh turns from the fierceness of his displeasure, and shall show you compassion, love, and increase you, as he swore to your fathers. When you obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim to guard all his commands, which I command you today, to do what is right in the eyes of Yahweh your Elohim. Isaiah chapter 14 on page 424. Because Yahweh has compassion on Jacob, and shall again choose Israel, and give them rest in their own land, and the sojourners shall join them, and shall cling to the house of Jacob, and people shall take them, and bring them to their own place, and the house of Israel shall possess them for servants and female servants in the land of Yahweh. And they shall make captives of their captors, and rule over their oppressors. And it shall be in that day, Yahweh gives you rest from your sorrow and from your trouble in the hard service in which you were made to serve. That you shall take up this proverb against the sovereign of Babel, and say, how the oppressor has increased, the gold gatherer ceased. Yahweh has broken the staff of the wrong, the scepter of the rulers. He who struck the people in wrath with ceaseless blows, he who rules the nations in displeasure is persecuted, and no one restrains. Seven. And all the earth is at rest and at peace, and they shall break forth into singing. Even the cypress trees rejoice over you, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since you were cut down, no woodworker has come up against us. Sheol from beneath is excited about you, to meet you at your coming. It stirs up the dead for you, all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the sovereigns of the nations. All of them respond to you. All of them respond and say to you, have you also become as weak as we? Have you become like us? Your arrogance has been brought down to Sheol, and the sound of your stringed instruments. The maggot is spread under you, and worms cover you. How you have fallen from heavens, O hell, son of the morning. You have been cut down to the ground, you who laid low the nations. For you have said in your heart, let me go up to the heavens, let me raise my throne above the stars of El, and let me sit in the mount of appointment on the sides of the north. Let him go up above the heights of the clouds. Let me be like the Most High. But you were brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. Those who see you stare at you and ponder over you, saying, is this the man who made the earth tremble, who shook rains, who made the world as a wilderness and destroyed its cities, who would not open the house of his prisoners? All the sovereigns of the nations, all of them, were laid in esteem, every one in their own house. But you have been thrown from your burial site like an abominable branch, like the garment of those who were killed, thrust through with the sword. Go down to the stones of the pit like a trampled corpse. You are not joined with them in the burial place. You have destroyed your land and killed your people. Let the seed of the evildoers never be mentioned. Prepare his children for the slaughter because of the crookedness of their fathers, lest they rise up and possess the land, and fill the face of the world with cities. And I shall rise up against them, declares Yahweh of hosts, and shall cut off the Babel, the name, and remnant, and offspring, and descendants, declares Yahweh. And I shall make it a possession for the porcupine, and the marshes of muddy water, and shall sweep it with the broom of destruction, declares Yahweh of hosts. 24. Yahweh of hosts has sworn, saying, truly, as I have planned, so shall it be, and as I have purposed, so it stands. So as have I proposed it, so it stands. To break Asher in my land, and tread him down on my mountains, and his yoke shall be removed from them, and his burden removed from their shoulders. This is the counsel that is counseled for all the earth. This is the hand that is stretched out over all the nations. For Yahweh of hosts has counseled, and who annuls it, and his hand that is stretched out, who turns it back. This is the message which came in the year of sovereign Azad died. Do not rejoice, all you Philistines, that the rod that struck you is broken. For out of the serpent's roots comes forth an adder, and its offspring is a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy lie down in safety. And I shall kill your roots with scarcity of food, and it shall kill your remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city, melt away, all you Philistines, for smoke shall come from the north, and there is no stranger in his ranks. And what does one answer the messenger of a nation? That Yahweh has founded Zion, and the poor of his people take refuge in it. Psalms 2, on page 648. Why do the nations rage, and the people meditate emptiness? The sovereigns of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his Messiah, and say, let us tear apart their bonds, and throw away their ropes from us. He who is sitting in the heavens laughs. Yahweh mocks at them. Then he speaks to them in his wrath, and troubles them in his rage, saying, but I have set my sovereign on Zion, my set-apart mountain. I inscribe for law. Yahweh has said to me, you are my son. Today I have brought you forth. Ask me, and I make the nations your inheritance, and the ends of the earth your possessions. Break them with a rod of iron. Dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel. And now, be wise, O sovereigns. Be instructed, you rulers of the earth. Serve Yahweh with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the chosen. Son could be. Kiss the son, lest he be enraged, and you perish in the way. For soon his wrath is to be kindled. Blessed are all those taking refuge in him. Moving on to Proverbs 2. Proverbs 2 on page 731. Proverbs 3. Still on page 731. My son, do not forget my Torah, and let your heart watch over my commands. For length of days and long life and peace they add to you. Let not loving commitment and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. thus finding favor and good insight in the eyes of Elohim and man. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Know him in all your ways, and he makes all your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahweh and turn away from evil. It is healing to your navel and moistening to your bones. Esteem Yahweh with your goods and with the first fruits of all your increase. Then your storehouses shall be filled with plenty, and your vats overflow with new wine. My son, do not despise the discipline of Yahweh, and do not loathe his reproof. For whom Yahweh loves, he reproves, as a father the son whom he delights in. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the man who gets understanding. For the gain from it is better than the gain from silver, and its increase than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all your delights are not comparable to her. Length of days is in her right hand, riches and esteem in her left hand. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those taking hold of her, and blessed are all those who retain her. Yahweh founded the earth by wisdom. He established the heavens by understanding. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and clouds dropped down dew. My son, let them not depart from your eyes. Watch over sound wisdom and discretion. Then they become life to your being, and an adorning to your neck. Then you would walk safely in your way, and your foot would not stumble. When you lie down, you need not be afraid. You shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden dread, nor of the ruin of the wrong when it comes. For Yahweh is at your side, and he shall guard your foot from being caught. Do not withhold good from those who deserve it, when it is in the power of your hand to do so. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I give it, when you have it with you. Do not plan evil against your neighbor, seeing he dwells safely beside you. He does strive with a man without cause. Do not strive with a man without cause, if he has done you no evil. Do not envy a cruel man, and choose none of his ways. For the perverse one is an abomination to Yahweh, and his secret counsel is the straight. The curse of Yahweh is on the house of the wrong, but he blesses the home of the righteous. He certainly scoffs the scoffers, but gives favor to the humble. The wise do inherit esteem, but fools are bearing away shame. First Corinthians chapter 7 on page 1110, 1110. And concerning the matters you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But because of whoring, let each one have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the woman render to his wife what is her due, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except with agreement for a time, to give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, so that Satan does not try you because of your lack of self-control. And I say as a conscience, not as a concession. I say this as a concession, not as a command. For I wish that all men were even as I myself, but each one has his own gift from Elohim, one in this way and another in that. And I say to the unmarried and to the widows, it is good for them if they remain even as I am. But if they do not have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. And to be married I command, not I, but the master. A wife should not separate from her husband. But if she is indeed separated, let her remain unmarried, or be restored to favor with her husband. And let a husband not send away a wife. And to the rest I say to the master, if any brother has an unbelieving wife, and she thinks well to live with him, let him not send her away. And a woman who has an unbelieving husband, and he thinks well to live with her, let her not send him away. For an unbelieving husband has been set apart in the wife, and the unbelieving wife has been set apart in the husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but now they are set apart. And if the unbelieving one separates, let him separate himself. A brother or a sister has not been enslaved in such matters, but Elohim has called us to peace. For how do you know, O wife, whether you shall save your husband? Or how do you know, O husband, whether you shall save your wife? Only as Elohim has distributed to each one, as the master has called each one, so let him walk. And so I order in all the assemblies. Was anyone called while circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. Was anyone called while uncircumcised? Let him not be circumcised. The circumcision is not, and the uncircumcised is not, but the guarding of the commands of Elohim does matter. Let each one retain in the same calling in which he was called. Were you called while a slave? It matters not to you. But if you were able to become free too, rather use it. For he who was called in the master while a slave is the master's freedman. Likewise, he who is called while free is a slave to Messiah, slave of Messiah. You were bought with a price, but not 23. You were bought with a price. Do not become slaves of men. Brothers, let each one remain with Elohim in that calling in which he was called. And concerning maidens, I have no command for the master, but I give judgment as one whom the master in his compassion and made trustworthy. I think then that this is good because of the present necessity, that it is good for the man to remain as he is. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be loosened. Are you loosened from a wife? Do not seek a wife. But even if you should marry, you have not sinned. And if a maiden should marry, she has not sinned. But such shall have pressure in the flesh. But I would spare you. And this I say, brothers, the time is short, so that from now on even those who have wives should be as though they have none, and those who weep as though they did not weep, and those who rejoice as though they did not rejoice, and those who buy as though he did not possess, and those who use this world as not misusing. For the scene of this world is passing away, and I wish you to be without concern. He who is unmarried is considered about the matters of the master, how to please the master. But he who is married is concerned about matters of the world, how to please his wife. There is a difference between a wife and a maiden. The unmarried woman is concerned about the matters of the master, that she be set apart both in body and in spirit. But she who is married is concerned about the matters of the world, how to please her husband. And this I say for your own good, not to put a restraint on you, but for what is proper, and to attend to the master without discretion. And if anyone thinks he is behaving improperly toward his maiden, if she is past the flower of her youth, and so it be, let him do what he desires. He does not sin. Let them marry. But he who stands steadfast in his heart, having no necessity and no authority over his own desire, and has so decided in his heart to guard his own maiden, does well. And then he who gives her in marriage does well, but he who does not give her in marriage does better. A wife is bound by Torah as long as her husband lives, and if her husband dies, she is free to be married to whom she desires, only in the master. But she is better off if she remains as she is, according to my opinion. And I think I also have the spirit of Elohim. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible. Talk to the Father.